DIY. DIY is one of my favorite things about the time period we're living in is that we are hearing from our legends. We're hearing about not only their journeys and what they were going through, but we're also hearing about how they feel about the game as it's set up today. Scarface, definitely one of my favorite artists to listen to, one of my favorite rappers to listen to. I never forget one time I looked at my mama's cassette tapes and she had a bunch of gospel cassettes, and then I seen Scarface and I said, "Hey mama, what you doing with Scarface in your collection?" And she was like, "I like the piano on it." I said, "Nuh-uh. He jumped onto a conversation with Shannon on his podcast, Shannon Sharp, and he said something that was really interesting that helps people to understand why he refuses to put out new music.
1 million streams is $4,000. What? Yeah. 1 million streams is $4,000.
Wow. So should rappers take their music off stream to get it back to where people got to pay real money to get it?
Yep, I would. It costed.
One day somebody gonna shake my hand and look me in the eyes and say, "Thank you, Curtis, for what you was doing a couple years ago, man. I see it now. I see it now. Boy, I got crucified for saying this. I've been told you, go direct to consumer, take your shit." Thank you, Scarface. Thank you, Uncle Scarface.
Stream to get it back to where people got to pay real money to get it?
Yep, I would. It costed us so much money to make those albums. Mm-hmm. It cost so much to pay a producer. But now, you know what? I think producers may make a beat for $200 now. I'm not lying. But I know back in the gap, you know, a Dr. Dre beat was $250,000. You know, Timberland beat was $200,000.
Can you imagine? I know this is going a little bit off the topic, but can you imagine? You sign a deal in the 90s. You get your label deal. You're like, yeah, man, I'm in the game now. I'm signed. Shit, who you want to work with? Shit, the Neptunes, of course. How much they hitting for? $500,000. But I only got $1 million. Can you imagine? That's some good ass money. $150,000 to $200,000 for some production from them at that time. But it is still relevant to the topic of underpaying streams because them prices ain't gonna happen like that no more. Them prices ain't happening like that no more. And if they are, there's a reason why we may not hear from some of these producers as often as we once did. You know, I once had you guys might even know. Shout out to Ace Boy Pun. He once told me, as I was part of a group called League of Stars as a producer, I was like, man, I forget what year it was. Might have been 2010. I said, man, is the so-and-so beat still going for like $300,000? He was like, did the price of a Mercedes go down in the last year? I said, nope. He said, there's your answer. So I can only imagine now what that's like. You shell out this money, you get the features, you know what I mean? You get everything mixed and mastered. You take care of all the studio fees. You get all the musicians to come and work on your project. You get all the beats, all that stuff. Everybody's taken care of just for you to put your music on the stream. And you hope that you crack 1 million streams and make $4,000. What? Continue.
Wow. As the Neptunes and all of them, that shit was high.
Yeah.
So it would be shameful to get a beat from these top-notch producers and then have to put your shit on a stream and wait for it to stream.
Wow. So you got to get, basically in order to get some money, you got to do like 1 billion streams.
If you want some money, yeah.
And then when you think about how people typically get to 1 billion streams and how messy Russ has exposed a lot of that over the last few years on podcasts, but how messy of a game that is, as monopolized as that game is in terms of what playlist curators that you'll be able to have access to. The ones you won't have access to are the ones the labels have access to, and certain labels have different prioritizations, so you're not even playing that game. If the majority of streams, and I believe this is a stat, please don't quote me on it, but the majority of streams that are generated on a song on Spotify come predominantly, I think it's either 50 or 60% from playlist. Excuse me? Playlist. So if you're not on playlists, you're not even scratching that type of money. Add on top of that, Spotify has a threshold that they put in last year that says that if you do not get up to 1,000 streams, you will not get paid for whatever particular song is attached to that. Yes, that means that indeed artists are supposed to hit a quota before they can get paid fractions of a penny. Now imagine how that feels after investing all the money that you've invested. Don't even want to get into it. Got PTSD just talking about it.
So like Drake and Kendrick, they doing billions.
They be doing billions of streams, so they getting money.
Yeah, Beyonce, Taylor Swift.
Streams.
He says the Beyoncés, the Kendricks, the Canadian Light Brights, and all these folks are getting the majority of the streams. Here's how it works on Spotify, and some other platforms are very similar. You know that when you listen to an artist on Spotify, and you only listen to that artist, there's a chance that they only get three. Let's say it's whatever amount of streams gets them $10 or supposed to get them $10. You know that they're probably only making $2 to $3 of that, and then the rest of that money is being divided amongst a pot. So you could say, hey, I only listen to somebody like Curtis King because I want to support DIYers and independent artists, right? I'm about that.
DIY.
Your listens are also paying Taylor Swift because there's a pie system that says if you dominate this fraction of the streams that are being generated on Spotify, you're entitled to this fraction of every piece of income generated from these streams. So there's a sliver for Taylor Swift, a sliver for Ed Sheeran. You may never listen to Taylor Swift, and she's getting paid off of you listening to my music. It is a pull system, a royalty pull system. It is insane. So imagine how crazy, I know some of you probably hear this, but imagine how crazy it was to me as I started to go right back into music after doing content creation for some time. And I was like, the game is fucked up. How are you making money? Well, it's got to be through torrent. It's got to be through. That's been monopolized as well by Live Nation. That's why they're dealing with issues. There's so many venues you can't even get access to unless you're ready to play a different type of game. There's a John Bellion reaction we talked about. It is so insane how many monopolies these companies that used to be just music labels that house other music labels have now become a part of this system. They now have a hand in some of the distributors that we as independent artists distribute our music through. So then there's artists like me and others out here who are saying, you know what, fuck all that. How about we just release the music on our website, direct to our consumers?
You know, but I don't. It's too much. It's too much red tape, man, in between that, because you don't never know. It's kind of like the record selling too. You don't know how many records you really sold.
Right.
You know what I mean?
What they tell you.
Let's just go by what they tell you. You know.
They control what he said was crazy. They control the analytics. Don't forget, they control the analytics as well. Spotify as a company, just like any other company, has the right to disclose whatever analytics they want you to know. Some folks got so excited when Spotify for Artists became a thing. If you don't know, that's like the behind the scenes hub that independent artists look at when they want to see where their streams are coming from. Okay, I'm getting play over here in Kenya. I'm getting a little play over here in Russia. I'm getting a little play over here. Okay, cool. I'm seeing where my traffic is being generated. These are the songs that are doing the most. They only get access to the stats that Spotify and these other streaming platforms say they can have. But you know what's the most important metric that any small business needs? Because independent artists are small businesses. Emails. Ask how many emails artists are getting on a Spotify today. This is nothing new. I'm just rehashing these conversations. Can you just see how fucked up of a business model this is? And why you have so many artists doing desperate things to try to get paid, why they're on live streams with streamers who they have no business on there with. They're looking for some kind of means. I understand to a certain degree if that was part of the reason why Andre 3000 don't want to put no music out. For what? I catch the ridicule from social media and this is the money I'm not. No, hell no. What do y'all got me doing? I'll make it for myself.
But the streaming, I'm still not hip to how this works.
Right.
And that's why I'm not putting out any new music. I'm not releasing any new music because it would just be all done in vain.
Wow.
Because those people have come up with something so slick to cut us all the way out the money. Mm. You know, the mom and pop saved hip hop. The mom and pop saved our lives. Because if we couldn't do anything else, we can sell 100,000 records and make $1 million. God forbid you sold 1 million records and made $10 million. You know,
But you used to go back in the day. You look forward to going to the shop and getting the vinyl.
you did, and you read the credits.
Yes.
This is why it's so important for those of you out here DIYers, and I always brag about you when I have artists come on for interviews. That's why it's so important that y'all still buy physical.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
I cannot stress this enough. Not only does this keep the ecosystem of independent artists who have dedicated their lives to creating the best art that they can, not only does it support them financially, but it also supports their creative ideas that they do in the future. But you just buying a vinyl directly from the website, directly from a Bandcamp, even though I know that can get a little sketchy, but you buying music from there, even directly from them, does so much more good for them. If you, and not every listener is the same. Some people don't give a damn. They go on streaming and that's the end of their relationship. Cool. It's convenient. Got you. We're in a place in time where convenience is not enough, even for that subscription you're paying. There's the songs inside of a playlist that I've had for the last 2 or 3 years that I can no longer listen to because for whatever reason, Apple Music removed them or the artist removed them. You know what happens when I have a CD? Ain't nobody taking that shit away. I've been playing this Rhapsody and Mad Raps EP on repeat. Yes, on my record player. But I've been doing that because that's the only place I can access that dopamine. So artists are figuring out more creative ways to not only engage with their audience, but also to have a legitimate business that generates income. Why is it every damn medium, especially when you think about the popularity of AI, why is it all aiming at trying to make music so damn free? Why music? Why would you want the people that are a part of our everydays, for those who listen to music like I do, why would you want the music that is a part of your everyday? That's a tool that you use every single day. Why would you not want to pay nothing to the person that creates it? Tells the stories that you cannot tell because you're not a writer. No, instead the game says, now you can make music too. Want to be a prompt engineer? Crazy.
And you can roll a square on the record. You say yes, yeah. You know, you pop the cassette in. Yeah, like we had jams, man, and they sold. Not just listening to shit, man. And I'm gonna listen to this, and I'm gonna pay him half a penny. But after this, I want to hear something else and pay them half a penny. No, you had to buy that body of work.
Yeah.
Like you can't like a real artist, man. You can't judge their body of work by one song.
Yeah, but people do it time and time again. You know, we've covered a lot of the ridiculous things that have been happening because of people trying to figure out creative ways to make some money on streaming. This shit had me cracking up though today. Shout out to Top Music Attorney. Shout out to Crystal. She covered this. Haley Williams of Paramore. She did some shit that made me chuckle a little bit. She released a solo album, but not in the traditional way. This is what streaming has got our artists doing. Watch this.
Paramore's lead singer Haley Williams did a thing, and I don't know how I feel about it. So she dropped her new album, but she didn't drop it as an album. What she did is that she dropped a whole bunch of singles as singles. So she's doing this as a solo project, of course, and so if you go and you just kind of scroll, here are all the different singles. Here's what she said she's trying to do. She goes, I want to do something where you guys, as the fans, you can go and create the album. You can
What kind of Build-A-Bear album does she got going on here? Shout out to the legend, but what the fuck is this Build-A-Bear shit we talking about? You see what streaming got people doing? I hate it. I hate it. She worked on a whole body of music. And I do salute her for her creativity. She worked on a whole body of music just to release every song individually. And she said, and they said, is this a new album? I don't know. Is it a new album? Well, like, what's the track list? I don't know. What's the track list? Stop doing that, Haley. What am I doing? What am I doing? What you mean I gotta put your album together? What kind of shit is this? Anybody read this the same way? I know people are looking at it like it's a really creative, but why the hell it? She explains it.
Do the album listing, put it in the order that you're thinking. And so I think she's inviting
The order that I'm thinking? Bitch, you wasn't even shooting in the gym with me. You wasn't in the gym. I'm talking to the fans. You wasn't in the gym shooting with me. You ain't playlisting shit. Oh, this shit got me hot. I wasn't this hot this morning when I seen it. This shit got me hot. You worked your whole damn life to become Haley effing Williams. Just to be like, I don't know what y'all want. And this is part of the issue that has happened in rap, is that we've been the extreme version of pandering. I know this seems like it's fan first, but here's the problem. I'm a believer, firm believer, fans should not be leading the artist in their creative leadership, in their creative decisions. They can have input, but you're the guy. Can you imagine being a plumber, knocking on somebody's door? Here, I'm here to fix your toilet. Oh, come on in. Only to walk inside the bathroom as a professional and say, this thing's really stopped up. What do you think I should do? Should I use this plunger or this one? Nigga, I don't know. You're the professional. Do you get how crazy that sounds? And I know music can be interactive. I know this, but this just sounds crazy to me. You are the professional, Haley Williams. These people don't know shit about organizing an album. Now, strategically, I see she could be cooking. Peep this out, though.
fans to be a part of the creative process. I'm fine with that. The thing I initially thought as I go, are you just kind of mobilizing your fans to create a ton of playlists? Because P.S., if you have your fans create a ton of playlists using your new release, it will trigger discovery mode on Spotify. It's a hack that works really well. Now, either way, I like that she's trying to think outside the box, but what do you guys think? Drop a comment down below.
The problem is we got to think outside the box. The problem is we gotta be fucking Inspector Gadget. We gotta put cheat codes in. Not even to get a jetpack on San Andreas. We gotta put cheat codes in for the game to start. I salute her for because I can only imagine what it's like. I don't know if she's on a label or whatever the case may be. I can only imagine how frustrating this is. If you are an artist that has a legacy like a Haley, if you're from Paramore, you got a legacy, and I can only imagine how frustrating it is to have to readjust to TikTok and figure, okay, this is what they're doing. Okay, we gotta do this. We gotta do this kind of media. We gotta get up. Okay, but to have your project be up as singles, all I can think about is this. I don't know how fast it takes you to go through an album. Excuse me, to go through individual songs on Apple Music. All I'm thinking is this: every time they take a song and drop it into a playlist. Okay, I like this one. I like this one. I like this one. They're also being exposed to ads. They're being exposed to other music that could distract them. I feel like the beautiful thing about having an album in the same place, which they're going to do this anyways, but it's in a very different form. Having the album all in the same place, at least they stay in the same place as they're adding the 3 dots and they're adding stuff to the playlist. But having them go to every individual single to make their own album? I'm not a plumber. Why are you giving me the tools? This is artistically inappropriate. Nah, not in this culture. Not in this culture today. This is culturally appropriate. This is what you gotta hold your fork. You gotta hold your shrimp like this. This is culturally appropriate. I think it's a fun idea. I think it's a marvel idea. I think it's an amazing idea. It's a way to mobilize our audience. It's a way to. That's culturally appropriate. We supposed to be culturally inappropriate. We supposed to be so inappropriate that we say, man, fuck a Spotify. Here's my website. Here's my physical album. Here's my vinyl. And I don't care if people are not listening to music on CD and vinyl. They'll have a digital version once they pay for the actual physical. And they'll have an autograph. And they'll have a something to hold on to in the event that my music changes. Physical won't change on you. Digital will. I feel like Skip Bayless when I did that. DIYers, it's my thoughts. You let me know what you think.